So I was just talking about being Mary Magdalene, being the opposite, and how I know I'm the Holy Grail. And I got off a bit there. So Spirit, when I'm off too far, just kind of stops me. So regrouping, coming back, just finishing that, the message of the video. Just quickly sharing a few things from my past. How did I figure out I was a Holy Grail? I had little clues all my life. So starting to put the clues together that would tell me I was born cross-eyed. I was born with one eye cross-eyed, looking inwards. And I understood that in ancient Aztec times, that those people with the inner sight and those shamans that would be a shaman to the people of the village, they were born this way because they had the inner sight, and that was a physical sign that they could know and intuit and communicate with the gods. So I was born cross-eyed. What's the next clue that I had? I met an angel. An angel came to visit me when I was 4 and a half. I had an angel, a beautiful, beautiful happening where I was 4 and a half years of age, and for some reason at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning in the spring, when I was 4 and a half, God whispered to me and said, "You have to go outside for a walk." I went, "Oh, okay." And I remember actually having to remind myself how to get dressed in the morning. And I remember, I must have just been learning how to dress myself, because I had to tell myself, first you put on your underwear, then your undershirt, then your pants, and now put on your top. Like I had to remind myself, do a checklist on what to put on and how to get dressed. Anyway, I got dressed, and at 4 and a half, and down I go downstairs, open the front door, and out I go and start going for a walk down the street. Well, I decided, smart little girl that I am, I decided I'd play a game, and the game was, I'm going to walk down the street and I'm going to go as far as I can go, and until I don't know who lives in the houses. So in other words, I went to the next door neighbors and I go, yeah, I know who lived there. The Viners lived there. And then the next house, and I knew who lived there. And so I said, I'm only going to go as far down the street until I don't know who lives there, and then I'll turn around and go home. Well, I think I got about 8 houses down. God, I remember it was Christine Scott's house, and I went up to her house, past that, and past hers I didn't know the houses, didn't know the people. I went, oh, okay, I don't know where I'm going now, so I'm going to turn around. So turn around, walking back down the street, and my street that I lived on had a ditch on both sides of the road. So there was like the road, and then there was a ditch, and then the person's front lawn, right? So as kids, we used to run up and down through the ditches, right? And then in rainy days, they get all full of water and everything. You splash in the puddles. It's lots of fun. So I'm running back, kind of in and out the ditches, up and down the lawn. I remember looking at the lawn and going, oh, it's so brown, and the breeze came, and it was cool, it was cold. And then I remember saying, oh, I should have worn a jacket. Why didn't I remember to put a jacket on? Reprimanding myself. And then as I was walking halfway down the street back, all of a sudden I looked up at the street, and there wasn't a movement. There wasn't anything moving. Not a car, not a bird chirping, not a noise, nothing. It was like a vacuum had gone and sucked all the air right out of everything. And all of a sudden it was like, and then this presence, this warmth came right up behind me. And it was like this wings were enveloped and went wrapped around me. And a voice, a warmth, a beautiful presence whispered in my right ear, and it just enveloped me. And the voice says to me, you're not alone. And inside my mind, I went, yeah, I know. You're not alone. And I knew that. And here I am at 4 and a half years old. I can imagine a mom today waking up and finding their 4.5-year-old walking down the street. The social media and the news would be all over it. They'd be in court so fast. It's not funny, I'm sorry, but I'm laughing at the different ways that we have changed our idea about children, and the amount of fear that's creeped into our world. Right? Anyway, going back to clues of how I knew I was the Holy Grail, God's daughter. I learned about Jesus first from my Aunt Marion, and she was awesome, and I love her. I love her. Was a kinder, most beautiful soul. She was my mom's sister. I had a connection with that woman, and my connection was she led me. She was the first person to introduce me to Jesus, and I'll remember her and thank her for it for all my days. My first time in Sunday school, I remember I was feeling so low and so lonely and so sad, and I went, and for the first time in my life, I heard that there was a man that loved me, and as a 4-year-old little kid, I'm sitting there going, what are you talking about? You mean there's this guy, this man, and he loves me, and he loves all the children, and he just loves everybody? And I thought, wow. And it changed something in me. It just made me feel good, made me feel happy. It just made me feel happy knowing that. And, okay, other real poignant clues is, one big clue, my nickname, my childhood nickname was Queenie. So Christ is the king, the female half is the queen. And my nickname was actually Queenie. Of all the nicknames, but my dad gave me that nickname. One of the other clues was, and I saw this the other day, I went through my wedding album, and I got married on February 14th, 1981, the same year as Chuck and Diana. And married on the day of love, of all days, right? But here I am, hearts all over the place. And I carried 14 long stem red roses. Now red roses are the sign of the Grail. I didn't know that, but I'll tell you, what bouquet are you wearing? There wasn't a hesitation in me. Oh, I'm carrying roses. Of course I'm carrying roses. And also, my actual veil, when I went and looked at the picture, for some reason too, it was customary, you had your veil on, you had a headpiece, and then your veil went here. But for some reason, I just went, no, I want my veil pushed in, and that made the veil come up and form a halo over my head. And I thought, oh, I just want to be different. But I didn't do it for any other reason than that. But when you look back in retrospect, it's spirit, and you give yourself clues throughout your life, little clues along the way that you don't think mean anything back then, but now that you turn and look back over your life, there's always been clues of who you are. You just have to put all the puzzle pieces together. It formulates a picture. Being able to talk to God, that's a big clue. And I had an amazing experience in 1993 that I will record. I'll make a video of it. Maybe I'll do that next. Talk about that. Just putting some history together about myself. But yeah, making that experience that happened in 1993 was supernatural. And that was out of the ordinary. And then in 2004, I started channeling, just before I wrote my Oprah book. I started channeling in 2004, you are the Holy Grail. You are the Holy Grail. God be channeling and talking to me, and I'd be writing and journaling, and he'd be speaking to me, because all these, every time he talks, I try and write it down, being a good scribe and all. And he started channeling, or telling me, Sandra, you're the Holy Grail. Sandra, you're the Holy Grail. Well, I don't know what that means, but thank you. Because half the time I'm channeling, I really don't go back and read a lot of it. Sometimes I do, but I just feel that my purpose is to channel the Word of God, and I just channel what's coming through me. And then let go of the outcome of it, let go of the attachment that it's mine, but it's really just, I'm hearing from God and I'm writing down what he says. And yeah, some of the things that he's told me, there's quite a beautiful high frequency and some of the statements he's given and the information and the wisdom. But that, like I said, he just planted that little seed that was the Holy Grail. And then it wasn't until my meeting, no, I shouldn't say that. And then it was probably around 4 years ago. What happened was I was reading a book called The Vatican, and it dealt a lot about Dan Brown's information in his movie and the history of the Holy Grail. And I was reading that book at the time, so I got a message from God that I was going to be visited by him on a Friday. And that usually meant for me to clear my space, clear my life, and be ready to sit and talk to God for the afternoon. Well, I got a message on Friday that I wouldn't be receiving God's presence till Monday now. And I went, oh, I didn't realize, that's the first time that kind of happened to me. So I went, oh, all right. So Friday I didn't expect anything, but Monday I cleared my calendar. And I remember having, nothing to do then, sitting down, being quiet, being with God, meditating. And then all of a sudden this energy came in the room, came over me, and I was out. I just was like gone. And I had the book that I was reading, The Vatican, on my lap. And as I was sitting there and reading it, my hands were on the page, but I didn't know. I just had turned the page, so I didn't see what was on the page of the book in front of me. It was on my lap. So then all of a sudden this energy comes in me, and all of a sudden I'm gone, and I'm sitting there, and it's 20 minutes are going by. I felt like at least 20 minutes. And I'm in this state where God's presence is on me, and I don't hear very much. It's very quiet. I'm just sitting there in my mind, my conscious mind, I'm going, okay, I can't move my body. God's presence here. What is God saying to me? Why am I being quiet? What's the message? Just waiting, trying to be obedient, keeping my thoughts. They're going. And I'm trying to just calm my thoughts and feel my body, feel the presence, feel the energy, feel God's presence, and wait for the message. So as I'm sitting there waiting, all of a sudden, I hear the message. Open your eyes. This is who you are. And I open my eyes and I look down at the book, and my hands are on a picture of the Holy Grail. And I think on the other side there was a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci, I think. Not sure about that, but I have my hands on the picture of the Holy Grail, and God says, that's who you are. Wow. And then further proof of how I came to know that I'm the Holy Grail was when I met my other half, which was Jesus. And the two of us acted as twin flame mirrors to one another, and he mirrored my true self, and I mirrored his, and I knew he was Jesus, and he knew I was a goddess. I was the Holy Grail, and we knew that, and it was taking us quite a while to climatize to one another, and to be able to come and see the truth about that for each other. So, I will tell you that after, again, watching the Da Vinci Code and seeing Tom Hanks and watching that, it motivated me to come forward and speak my truth about what I've discovered about who I am. And that if indeed I am truly the Holy Grail, then would I not then carry on the faith? Would I instill faith in others? And that is what I want to do more than anything, is give you hope that there's more than what you see. There's a spirit, there's an energy, there's a life force, a source of energy that's available to all of us on the planet. And Jesus was kind of just the first one to put it all together. That's why you want to marvel at him, because the guy won. He was the biggest nerd on the planet. Must make me a nerd too. A keener, okay? Somebody who's really fierce for God, got a passion to know God. Yeah, so anyway, these are the clues that I've had, that I've put together, that have convinced me, that have shown me, that have allowed me to come to the conclusion that I truly am laying claim to the fact that I am the Holy Grail, the chalice, and the partner to carry on the church. So, if we were to do that together, that would be fun too, because we'd start to teach people what it is that we're really meant to know and receive it again. Receive the wisdom from God again. Because we all know it's been plagiarized and twisted and turned and separated all of us on the planet into cultures and this belief and that belief and this belief. Well, it's probably the way it's meant to be right now, so that we reach a point where we say we're all educated enough, we're all aware enough, we're all being awakened enough to realize that the systems that we have in place and the beliefs that we've held for so long might be outdated, might need revamping. Because if we're not producing an environment, a loving environment around us and on our planet and in our world, if we're not producing that loving environment, something's going wrong. Something's not right. Something's not working. So let's rethink things together. I believe God's giving us new information right now through so many people on the planet, so many great beings that are here trying to waken us up and help us with this process. And if you can't hear me, that's okay, because there'll be somebody else saying similar things of hope and encouragement, and maybe you can hear their message and hear it the way they say it. The point is, keep listening. Keep finding the person that you can hear. If you're watching this and you're skeptical or not believing or laughing or thinking I'm crazy or I'm lying or whatever judgment you want to make, whatever thing, anything you choose to think, you can choose to think it. But you don't have to listen to me or believe me. You just have to. It just has to fire you up enough to go out and educate yourself and learn about who you are and why you're here and what your purpose is and what it is to awaken and walk in the light, walk in the truth, walk in the love, and knowing that we have that power. It's like Dorothy clicking her shoes at the end of the movie, and Glinda's there, and she said, if I had the power to go home, why didn't you tell me? And then she said, if I had told you, you wouldn't have believed me. You had to figure it out by yourself. God, I heard that line for so many years watching that movie year after year, Easter and Thanksgiving after Easter and Thanksgiving, watching my favorite Wizard of Oz show, and only to find out what a true statement at the end, eh? It wasn't enough that I told you. I told you. If someone told me I was a Holy Grail, I wouldn't have believed them. Just like if someone told Nemo in the Matrix he was the Matrix, he didn't believe them because he didn't know. And Alice in Wonderland, Alice, that's the whole point there. The caterpillar says, you're not nearly Alice. Well, she hasn't grown into who Alice was. So it's about knowing who you are, having the courage to speak your truth about who you are when you find out who you are, and then the courage to be it. When you claim it, you have a responsibility to be that person, to be that energy, to be that truth, to be that channel. Stepping into the shoes of a teacher or a leader is a responsibility you take up at the right time when you're ready to take on students and pupils. Because being in the teacher's shoes means you have a responsibility to speak the truth to them. And you have to care about your students. You have to love them. You have to love them and be there for them and stay there and help them. Because if they say I want to heal and they say I want to grow and they say I want to learn, and you decide, okay, I'll teach you, then as a teacher, it's my job to stay in there and teach you and share truth with you as long as I can, doing my job and hopefully enlightening all the souls that are going to light up when they react with what I speak. Yeah, so whether it's me or not, doesn't matter. Go and find somebody that you can learn from, that you can listen to, and that will help you grow. Because that's what you're here for. And one more thing, it's so important. All the problems, all the heartache, all the pain and everything that you've suffered as a light being so far in this life, you think it's you, and you think it's your family, or you think it's your parents, your siblings, your job, or you think it's all the things, all this pain, all this problems you've had. You chose to experience them before you came here so that you could know them, transcend them, and find yourself. But you also experienced them so you could lift the frequency up as you healed. You could lift the frequency of mankind up as you went through the healing process of them yourself. So you as light beings attracted this hurt and pain as children, as young adults, as young beings, so that you would carry it forward to your adulthood, so you would move into the healing of it. Because chances are most light beings are healers. You have to heal yourself first before you can heal others. So that principle, that spiritual principle, would make that you as a healer would have to heal yourself, transcend the pain, transcend the hurt, move into the higher light, higher love, healing vibrational frequencies, and heal others. That's the process. That's the ladder you climb. And know that it's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just what you're here to clear. So your pain and your problems are what you're here to clear for us all. So one person's got this problem with this person, one person's suffering with this problem with their family. It's all different, but you're here to deal with what you have been dealt with. And this is a nobler thing you're doing. So when you heal, it's not just for yourself, it's for the world, it's for the planet because of who you are. So an act of love would be to heal yourself. An act of I just want to say you want to love the world, heal yourself because you're a better person when you do heal yourself, because it'll just make the world a better place. I guess I just had to add that. Okay. Long video, I guess, now. But yeah, anyway, wanted to record it just so it's here.